Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars news update. We are once again talking about Andor Season 2. We have so much to discuss. Not only do we have a new look at some of the characters, but Lucasfilm have just unveiled a new synopsis, and I have an enormous Star Wars theory for you. Before we dive into it though guys, if you've not done so, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell to be alerted every time that I post a new video, but no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight in. So what's been happening? Well, Empire magazine has a world preview for the second season coming on Thursday the 21st, that's next week. It's so out of character for Lucasfilm to be promoting a show that's coming out in April this soon, but I'm not complaining, I'm super pumped. I kind of get the feeling that Disney and Lucasfilm know how excited fans are for this, way more excited than they are for Skeleton Crew. This is going to be one of the last enormous Star Wars TV shows before a return to the cinema in 2026 with The Mandalorian and Grogu. We know there is going to be a slowdown of Star Wars TV shows, so this is one of the last major hurrahs. And on the front cover, as you can see, we've got a new look at Cassian, Mon Mothma with her Senate attire, and Orson Krennic. Aside from the trailer shown at D23, this is our first major look at Ben Mendelsohn's return. He's looking absolutely amazing. We've also got some early comments from Ben Mendelsohn from this upcoming issue, and he teases two major things. For one, he says, Krennic is going to clash with Dedra Meero in the second season. Basically, the quote is this: if they didn't see eye to eye, it's cute. Dedra versus Krennic, I think it's a bit of a mismatch. They're all underlings to Krennic. That's going to be a very interesting dynamic. If I had to make a prediction, because we know Krennic lives into Rogue One, I can imagine him being the reason we never see Dedra again. Does she meet her end at his hands, as she has her own personal ambitions to rise the Imperial ranks? Interestingly enough, Ben Mendelsohn was also asked if we're going to see Tarkin. Could we see another CGI version of the classic character? I'm gonna say there's a very good chance. He says, quote, "You know I can't answer that, and I delight in not being able to answer your question. It's a beautiful thing. There are NDAs and all of that kind of thing, but this response just screams, yes." And the technology has come a long way since 2016, so if they do it in the same way, and I know there's an ongoing lawsuit about this, but if they were able to achieve it, I'm sure Tarkin is going to look so much better. And another huge tease this time from Tony Gilroy, Season 2 is going to, quote, tell the story of Yavin like never before. Again, he's reiterating it's a very important planet to the Rebel Alliance. Something we already knew, but we're gonna see it like never before. Aside from the original trilogy, my favourite depiction of Yavin 4 is in Star Wars Rebels. Not to mention, my dear friends, some of the actors have been really getting into the spirit of the hype for Season 2. Do you guys remember Clea Marquis, Luthen's closest confidant? She's one of my favourite characters. You guys know I've had several theories about her backstory, but now the wonderful actress who plays the character, Elizabeth Dulau, has been hyping the April 22nd release date. And I did break down the brand new footage shown in Brazil on my channel yesterday, and again 2 or 3 days ago. We've had a lot of very exciting Andor news. Now there's a reason Krennic has been put at the front and centre of Andor Season 2. Not just because he's a very significant character during this time, and obviously he's a way to lure in fans who loved Rogue One, but also because a new synopsis confirms how important the creation of the Death Star is in Season 2, which was hinted at in the final scene of Season 1. It was what Andor, Melshi, and the other prisoners on Arkina 5 were working on without knowing it. What a dark irony. Cassian being a part of the Death Star's construction, the super weapon that would ultimately kill him on Scarif. So the director of the Empire's advanced weapons research is going to be a very significant part of this season. He almost had to be. But what's really fascinating to me is that Dedra Meero hasn't been highlighted in any of the promotional footage, or even on the cover. Both her and her love interest Cyril Khan are back for Season 2. There were rumours she's going to have a promotion, a change of outfit, but she's not going to be the main villain. It seems like she's taking a step back. The second season is more high stake, just like the synopsis said. So Krennic, hopefully some Tarkin. I've seen a few fans ask, are we going to see Palpatine or Vader? I'm going to say probably no. They don't really fit in this story, and to be honest, Andor, which doesn't really concern Force users and the Force more generally, is the last place you'd expect the biggest players of the Empire. I'm also fascinated by the line conflicting agendas. There is obviously a bit of that within the rebel partisans and the rebel factions, the various cells, but also within the Imperial regime. But now, my dear friends, on to one of my major theories. The second season has a massive connection to Revenge of the Sith, or should I say, the deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith, a relatively minor character from some of the most amazing scenes that unfortunately George Lucas cut. Before the first season dropped, I don't know if you remember this, but we spoke a lot about the delegation of 2000. Granted, this was a long time before the Andor show. This was at the end of the Clone Wars, a group of concerned senators in the Galactic Senate, many of whom were part of the Loyalist Committee, Bail Organa, Padme, Mon Mothma, and a few others. And they were basically concerned by the way Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was accumulating so many executive powers. There was a petition created protesting his actions and demanding he return to the Senate and give up the aforementioned powers. Palpatine had changed the constitution. Naturally, the delegation of 2000 were worried as to where this would lead. So you're probably wondering, well, why is this important? The delegation of 2000 was 14 years before the Andor show, while the legacy of one of the senators might be very important to Season 2. Fang Zar was a male human senator who represented CERN Prime and the CERN sector, of which the Gorman system was a huge part. He represented Gorman. Prior to the war's end, he was a major contributing member to the delegation of 2000, and unfortunately someone who was on Palpatine's radar. One day after the formation of the Galactic Empire, Palpatine arrested 63 senators from the delegation using intelligence from the ISB, and one of them was Zar, on charges of conspiracy and treason. In Star Wars Legends, Zar died in 18 BBY, but in canon, he's still alive. He was simply arrested and is probably rotting in a prison somewhere, but his death has never been affirmed in canon. Andor Season 2 is going to give us the Gorman Massacre, one of the contributing factors to Mon Mothma's defection from the Imperial Senate. And because Senator Fang Zar was arrested because of his involvement in the delegation of 2000 and represented Gorman, his so-called treasonous acts brought Gorman under direct Imperial control. And so, there is a good chance this relatively small character from Episode 3 is referenced in the final season of Tony Gilroy's show. It would be further incredible if Padme got a mention, even though of course she's dead. And who knows, maybe in a flashback they'll bring back some deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith. Another really important character I've not seen mentioned in too many places, who really needs to appear in the second season, is Bail Organa, one of the founders of the Rebel Alliance. The Gorman Massacre, also known as the Massacre on Gorman, was an incident that takes place in 2 BBY, in which troops of the Galactic Empire slaughtered peaceful protesters on the planet's Gorman. And did you know, guys, one of the survivors would end up joining Saw Gerrera before Rogue One? And if you guys remember in Rebels, Mon Mothma blames Palpatine for the event. But with that said, my dear friends, share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. The Andor news, my theory, what are your theories? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on social media, the link to my Patreon is down below, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.